Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay, so who thought I'd be saying this in 2025, but another day, another George Floyd bombshell? I guess actually, if you think about it, it makes sense that I'd be saying this in 2025, considering how botched the process at the time really was. Now I guess we're seeing the skeletons in the closet being revealed in a sense. And now how do I even begin with this new update? I guess like every other update in this dumpster fire of a case, new details emerge in the George Floyd case that once again completely flips the case upside down. An update in the Katie Blackwell situation, the officer who testified against Derek Chauvin, where she claimed that the restraint used by Derek Chauvin in the George Floyd situation was not part of the department's established training.
To ask you, officer, as you look at Exhibit 17, is this a trained technique that's by the Minneapolis Police Department when you were overseeing the training unit?
It is not.
And why not?
Well, use of force according to policy has to be, consistent with MPD training. And what we train are neck restraints, the conscious and unconscious neck restraint. So per policy, a neck restraint is compressing one or both sides of the neck using an arm or leg. But what we train is using one arm or two arm to do a neck restraint.
And how does this differ?
I don't know what kind of improvised position that is. So that's not what we train.
Well, according to Jack Posobiec, we now have 14 police officers now coming forward, going public, directly calling out Katie Blackwell for supposedly lying under oath in the Derek Chauvin trial. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so the update just from the other day was a bombshell 2014 photo showing Katie Blackwell essentially using the exact same restraint that Derek Chauvin used, which obviously brings her testimony in question, and also coincidentally she walked into a massive promotion after that testimony, and so now the accusation being lobbed towards her is that supposedly she lied to get the promotion. And well, it's starting to get hectic. Check out this clip of Emmy-winning reporter Liz Collins confronting Katie Blackwell on the issue.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Yeah, actually, I have a few questions for you. Are you aware that 14 former and current Minneapolis police officers say you lied during Derek Chauvin's trial and perjured yourself? What's the truth here? I'd like to talk to you about the lawsuit you filed against myself and Alpha News. 34 police officers have come forward to say that MRT was trained by the Minneapolis Police Department. I've been trying to get in touch with you. You have obviously declined my interview request. Don't you think people deserve the truth?
So, Liz, have you had any response from either Katie or the department, other than, of course, the lawsuit in terms of this?
Yeah, so the police chief issued a statement after all of this to basically praise Katie Blackwell, his assistant police chief, for her moral courage and integrity. I would still like to know if the chief of police actually watched the fall of Minneapolis or is really fully aware of her testimony. That is a question we have yet to have answered.
Well, as per usual, what do we get? Nothing. Crickets. It might be hard in a way to justify lying under oath, and I'll tell you, day by day, there seems to be more and more support behind that claim. You got 14 former or current Minneapolis police officers directly calling Katie Blackwell out for lying under oath in such a high-profile case, and then you've got 34 police officers going on the record claiming that that knee technique is part of basic police training.
So as part of this motion to dismiss that we filed in this case earlier this week, we have 34 current and former police officers who filed sworn declarations to say that this knee on neck restraint that she testified about in Derek Chauvin's trial was in fact a part of police training. 14 of these officers go so far as to say that she perjured herself, that she lied on the stand in Derek Chauvin's criminal trial back in 2021. So really some bombshell court filings that have taken place She brought this fight to us, not liking how she was depicted in the fall of Minneapolis. But this was our response to that lawsuit. It's a 113-page brief in all that was filed in Hennepin County Court earlier this week.
I mean, it's a pretty serious accusation, and what we're getting from Katie Blackwell running away from the camera, well, it just doesn't cut it. I know it'll satisfy the media's needs, because of course they don't want to open up this can of worms at all, but in a fair world, in a just world, the people deserve basic transparency, and of course the truth. This is a serious accusation that absolutely needs to be dealt with. The case should go back to trial. And again, I'm going to repeat this. I'm not some sort of massive fanboy for Derek Chauvin, as I've said repeatedly on this channel, but the man deserves to be fairly represented in court. And just hypothetically, if someone, a police officer on top of it, was possibly lying under oath in a high-profile case as this, well, then it's simply got to be revisited, right? I'm not a crazy person for suggesting that now, am I? Otherwise, I mean, the justice system ought to be long in the gutter. What is the purpose of the justice system if it's not impartial to anyone, regardless of circumstance? If new evidence arises that questions the legitimacy of the case, well, then a new trial should be granted. Simple as that. And we need to have an honest conversation about what happened in this case and the possible effects that it had on society. And that's really the message that I'm getting from these 14 police officers stepping up here and calling out Katie Blackwell. But many police officers are probably fed up. I mean, think about this tense racial environment that's been created around this case and how it's affected police officers. Imagine the pressure that they're under in this BLM gaslit environment that we've been living in. Just showing up to work as a cop is like walking into a minefield. These police officers are told, follow your training, do your job. But also if you get filmed and things go badly and it becomes a viral sensation that all the mainstream media outlets are running with because they need the ratings boost and the Democrats need a scapegoat, well, you might just go to prison for life. That's the environment we've been living in. Police officers unable to do their job because of this culture that's completely demonized and weaponized the system against them. And we've seen the results. I mean, violent crime has been up everywhere since the George Floyd era. Just look at this report from the New York Post from last July. Assaults, robberies, car thefts, shoplifting, all of these crimes have been skyrocketing. Shoplifting alone was up 39% in 2023. Well, you can thank anti-police hysteria for that. When you spend years demonizing law enforcement, don't act surprised when lawlessness takes over. And don't even get me started on the whole Daniel Penny case. The simple fact is, at least the way I see it, it seems as though based on a lot of the evidence that keeps dropping, it seems as though there's merit behind the claim that politics is infecting the justice system. And that just simply cannot happen. We cannot live in a world of mob justice, where the outraged activist few dictate the outcome in trials. That's the accusation here, that there was a cultural, a narrative incentive for this police officer to testify in the way that she did, and that in the era of all this woke virtue signaling, she would then benefit by walking into a promotion, being the woke face of new, reformed, progressive policing in the post-George Floyd era. That essentially the cultural incentive and the cultural demand was that Derek Chauvin be sacrificed at the altar of wokeness, and that's something we gotta contend with, whether the mainstream media likes it or not. That seems like the only ethical path to me. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Seems like things are heating up and getting a whole lot messier in this George Floyd situation. It's scandal after scandal. Hopefully you enjoyed the update. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.